Okay, pro tips. Well, there's a lot of interesting things going on in legal webinar, but a couple things to share is that where we see the best success is cross-border initiatives. So if you're looking at attracting US or international business moving into the Canadian market, those webinars are always highly attended. We call the webinar the first date. It's a way for someone to look into you as a firm, hear some of your thought leaders or your practice group leaders and gain an understanding of how it is that they think and why they should be someone that they should do business with. And also, it's kind of hard sometimes for you to secure those meetings with people in other countries, and so it's an easy way to get that conversation started. The other tip that we see is when you're moving into doing any type of a webinar is highlight multiple practice groups. So rather than doing a webinar on IP and just have 3 IP lawyers talking about the impacts of CASL legislation or updates or whatever it might be, bring in someone from your litigation practice or someone from a different practice group. This way you can leverage lists for each practice group and hopefully promote the idea of introducing new practice groups into the same customer if that's not already being done. Yeah, well, the webinar does not get rid of in-person, and we know the importance of shaking hands. In the rest of the marketing world, we look at the standard marketing funnel where marketers are handling awareness and consideration, and a sales rep is talking at purchase. But in your space, they really need to look and meet the lawyer and make sure that they have a trust equivalent. And so you want to be looking at the webinar as a tool to go beyond just what's the firm's name, but letting them understand what are the strengths of that firm and why they should possibly doing business with them to get them to that conversation. And so when you look at it with that lens, thought leadership and top of funnel activities are probably the best use case for the webinar in a true marketing practice. Now, on the other side of the equation is the webinar from a PD or professional development standpoint provides you with a great deal of efficiency that you don't get from in person. And so if you're part of the events or the PD team as well at your firm, it's interesting to note that with a webinar tool, you should be able to completely automate the delivery of PD certificates or PD hours and have really detailed tracking that will reduce the amount of time spent in servicing your existing customers as it relates to professional development and continuing legal education. I guess my final thought on the topic, guys, is that, often when I walk into a boardroom of a law firm, I'm often told about all the things that are different about a law firm. But if you want to look anywhere, I would say go and look at what your friends in accounting are doing. So when you look at the PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMGs of the world, Grant Thorntons, these were some of our first customers when we opened our doors nearly 10 years ago. And they've not only embraced the webinar, but a lot of digital media as a way of ensuring that everyone knows that they are the leaders in their space and are able to leverage it across the country to sort of bring in new customers or retain customers as well. And I know that there's differences between legal and accounting, don't get me wrong, but I would say look at what they are doing and maybe even reach out and ask them what they're doing so that you can get an understanding of how it is effectively impacting their overall business, because we know that it is. It's one of the biggest subsections of users that we have in North America are the accounting practice. And the last thing is don't wait. Oftentimes, when I'm speaking to people, I hear about we need a content